Episode 5. Athena, the birth of thought. Most people think of Athena as the goddess of wisdom, a calm figure with an owl, a shield, and a spear. But the ancients saw something far more radical. Athena is not wisdom, she is the birth of thought, the moment consciousness awakens. And when it awakens, it cuts through confusion with unbearable clarity. And it is unbearable because she explodes out of Zeus's head. She is consciousness becoming alive. Zeus gives mind, Poseidon gives becoming, Demeter gives form. Athena, she is the lightning of the mind. Athena gives vision, the ability to see through the world instead of blindly living inside it. 1. The birth of Athena. Thought emerging from mind. Athena is born from the head of Zeus, and not as a myth, but as metaphysics. Plato, in the Cratylus, reveals her name. Athena is Atheonoa or Atheonoa, which means the divine mind, the God-thinking principle. Athena is not a character. She is the moment thought arises from pure consciousness. The moment the mind says, this is appearance and this is the truth, that moment is Athena. 2. Thought versus noise. Most people do not think. Most people react, repeat, imitate. They are drawn inside emotion, desire, fear, and habit. And their thoughts are not real thoughts, they're just echoes of their past and illusions about the future. Real thought is Athena, the rise above the inner sea, the first insight, the first distance from your own reactions. It's the instance you realize that, hold on a minute, I'm not my impulses, I am the one who sees through them. And that awakening is Athena. 3. Athena as discernment, the blade of clarity. Athena's spear is not a weapon of war. It is intellectual precision. It points, it separates, it discerns, and Athena cuts through illusions, fantasies, fears that are dressed up as thoughts, and from thoughts that are dressed as truth. So her spear is the very point of awareness, and her shield is the very boundary of the mind. And she is the very refusal to be fooled. 4. Athena and Medusa. The shadow transformed. And then comes her most strange and most misunderstood symbol, Medusa on her shield. But Medusa is not a monster. If you haven't seen the very first episode of the series, go and see it, because I explain what Medusa is. She's the face of unmastered fear. She's fear so raw that it freezes thought and turns the mind into stone. So her gaze petrifies because it is the gaze of our own shadow. When Perseus beheads Medusa and Athena places her on the shield, it means something extraordinary. That wisdom is not the absence of fear. Wisdom is fear transformed. What you face becomes your power, and what you integrate becomes your protection. So Athena does not run from darkness, she carries it, because what is understood can no longer control you. The hidden names of Athena. Alpha, Athena, Atheonoa. It is the divine mind, the God-thinking principle, as we said, the clarity that comes from above. Athena is consciousness freed from confusion and illusion. B. Pallas, the inner vibration. Her ancient title Pallas comes from pallome, which is to vibrate, to pulsate, to quiver with inner motion. Pallas Athena is the vibration of awakened consciousness. And here we reveal the truth. When people say raise your vibration, they are unknowingly speaking the language of Athena. But this is not emotional positivity, because that is an illusion. What we are talking here as the real raising my vibration is the lifting of the mind's inner frequency. And that happens through clarity. To raise your vibration is to raise the pulse of thought, the intensity of awareness, and the very lucidity of the mind. This is the original meaning of raising your vibration. It is cutting through your own noise, and it is Athena. C. Glaukopis, the eye that sees the darkness. Homer calls Athena a Glaukopis, which means bright-eyed. It's the same root as Glauks, the owl, the bird that sees in the night, as we said. This teaches that Athena is not the goddess of light. She's the eye that sees even without light, the mind that remains awake when the whole world goes dark. The owl sees what others cannot see. It sees the unseen, the forgotten, the avoided, the shadow, and this is why Athena carries an owl. It is not a decoration, it is not a symbol of gentlessness, but the living emblem of lucid perception, the ability to see darkness without being deceived by it. And the owl, again, is the vision that remains awake when the world goes dim. Athena's knowledge is not comfortable, it is revealing. It exposes what lies beneath appearances and forces the mind to confront what it tried to ignore.
What we call the evil eye today, it began as a memory. When Christianity became the official religion of the empire, the pressure to convert was immense. In Greece, where the old world was still alive, the transition was anything but smooth. The ruins we see today did not fall only to time or earthquakes. Many were deliberately destroyed. Anything that still stood as a reminder of the old tradition was seen as a threat during a period that lasted over a few centuries. And then something remarkable happened. People began taking the eyes from the statues. In a world collapsing around them, in cities losing their identity, people kept the eyes of their gods as tokens of protection and remembrance. The eye was the gaze that does not fade, the gaze that guards. From this, the amulet we now call the evil eye was born, not to frighten, but to remember Glaukopis Athena, the eye that sees in darkness, the knowledge that does not vanish even when the whole world around it falls apart. Most Greeks today no longer remember the origin of the eye, yet they place it on newborn children as a gift of protection. The Church sees it as a pagan remnant, and perhaps it is. It carries the echo of a much older world, a world that refused to disappear, choosing instead to survive in symbol. And yet, we are still here, telling their stories, keeping their memory alive, one video at a time. The symbol survived, and so did we.
Athena as inner strategy, the mind that sees ahead. Athena is the goddess of strategy because strategy is the art of seeing consequences. She governs timing, insight, anticipation, the ability to read motives and patterns, and the warriors pray to Ares for strength, but to Athena for victory, because victory belongs to the mind that can see clearly. 7. The Acropolis, mind elevated above chaos. Athena's temple stands above the city of Athens because elevated consciousness stands above confusion. To climb the Acropolis, your internal Acropolis, it is to rise above noise, conflict, ignorance, opinion, distraction. And Athena is the height, the perspective and lucidity. 8. Athena as psychological awakening, the moment you wake up. Athena is the moment inside you that says, stop, what's going on here? Look, think, understand. The moment thought separates from emotion and begins to see clearly. It is the birth of responsibility, the beginning of intelligence, and the first spark of freedom. 9. What Athena really is. So who is Athena? She is the divine mind emerging from within. She is the vibration of awareness, Pallas, the eye that can see in darkness, Glaukopis, the owl, and the clarity that integrates fear, the strategy of the psyche, the elevated mind, and the awakening of thought. Athena is not simply the goddess of wisdom, she is consciousness realizing itself. Next time we will explore Apollo, the light of order, the power that harmonizes the mind and shapes thought into harmony and brings rhythm into the soul. When Athena awakens thought, Apollo perfects it and harmonizes it.